Very sharp, very sharp, very sharp. Morning. Match day. Woohoo! Can't believe it's match day again. Yeah. Woo. Better make the bed. Welcome to lesson 5! Yeah, I'm feeling a bit excited today about this. That guy's way too excited. Right, so lesson 5. This is going to be a good one. And just remember, if you're having a wee bit of trouble or you don't understand something, just ask your mum and dad or just give it a go. And remember to put it on to Seesaw. In today's lesson, we're looking at compatible numbers. Compatible numbers are numbers that match up together to help solve problems.
Welcome to Compatible Numbers. In this lesson I'm learning to use compatible numbers to solve problems like 5 plus 3 plus 6 minus 8 by first adding 5 and 3 to get 8 and then removing the 8. Let's start with this question here. You can see over here I've got 3 counters, plus over here I've got 4 more counters, plus over here I've got 2 more counters. Unfortunately, I lose 6 of those counters. So I want to work out how many counters am I left with. Well, in this lesson we're looking for numbers that we can put together that will help us answer this question. So, looking at these, I can see that 4 plus 2 equals 6, and I think that's going to be helpful. Let's use these materials up here to see what that looks like. I'm going to move the 4 counters down here so they're in a row, and I'm going to combine them with the 2 counters. So you can see I've now got a row of 6 counters here. Now the question says I then lose 6 counters. So here are 6 counters. If I have to take away 6 counters, that'll leave me with 0 counters. But don't forget, I've still got these 3 counters up here, so the answer is 3. And if we look at our equation here, we use this 4 and 2 to make 6. We then had to take away that 6, which left us just with this 3. Let's try another question. This time I've got 7 counters, you can see up here, plus another 2 counters, you can see in the middle, plus another 5 counters. Unfortunately, I lose 9. So I want to work out how many am I left with. So first of all I look for some numbers which I can put together which will help me answer the question. And I can see that 7 plus 2 equals 9. And that's helpful because later on this question tells me that I lose 9, so I have to take that much away. So let's have a look at what that looks like with materials. Over here I've got my 7 counters and I'm going to move these 2 counters over. So now I've got a pile of 9 counters. So if I have 9 counters over here, but then this question tells me I have to subtract 9, that means I'm going to be left with no counters at all over here. So the only counters I'm going to be left with is this pile over here. And in this pile there are 5 counters. So 7 plus 2 plus 5 minus 9 equals 5. And you can see in this equation what we did, we put the 7 and the 2 together so that that would make 9. Then we had to take away 9, which left us with 0, so the only amount we had left were these 5 counters. Now let's try a question without any materials. This time I've got 4 counters, plus another 8 counters, plus another 3 counters, but I lose 7 counters. So I want to work out how many counters do I have left. So just like last time, I'm looking for some numbers that I can join together that will help me answer this question. Well, I can see that if I put the 3 and the 4 together, I would make 7. So I'll cross those two out. So by combining those two piles of counters, I've now got 7 counters. Now later on this question says I have to take away 7. So if I've got 7 and I take away 7, that will leave me with 0 counters, which means the only amount of counters I've got left is this 8. So the answer is 8. Let's try one more question. This time I've got 2 counters, plus another 5 counters, plus another 10 counters, but this time I lose 12 counters. So again, I'm looking for some numbers that I can combine together to make this question easier to answer. Well, looking at those numbers, I can see that I could combine my 10 and my 2. Because if I combine those two, I'll have a pile of 12 counters. So I'll cross out these amounts because they've now been joined together to make this 12. And that's helpful because later on the question says I need to take away 12. So if I've got 12 counters and I take away 12 counters, that'll leave me with 0 counters, which means the only amount I've got left are these 5 here. So the answer is 5 counters. Well, I hope you found this lesson helpful. For more help, check out teachertools.co.nz.
Here are your examples. So I'm going to do an example first. So you can see this one here. Example is 8 plus 5 plus 2 plus 1 take away 9 equals. Right, so first we need to find what will be a good way to solve this problem. And we can see there is only one taking away of 9. So we want to find a 9 that we can get rid of that. So in these numbers here, we want to look for numbers that go together, compatible numbers, that will be the same as 9, because we're taking 9 away. So I can see here, 8 and 5, is that 9? No. 5 and 2? No, that's 7. 8 and 2? No, that's 10. 8 and 1? I can see 8 and 1, that makes 9. So what I would do is I would get my 8, link it up to 1, and I can cross those out because now that has taken away that 9. Alright, so we've got 8 plus 1 take away 9. So 8 plus 1 is 9, take away 9, so that leaves us 0, so those are all crossed out. So what we have left is 5 plus 2, and that's pretty easy. We know that 5 plus 2 is 7. So that's the answer, finding the compatible number. Right, so you'll need to do number 1. Okay, looking at these numbers here, and you'll see take away 8, so you're going to find 8. And there's only one takeaway on number 2 here. There's just one takeaway in number 3, one takeaway number 4, and one takeaway in number 5. Number 6 here, you've got a 2-digit number, but you've just got one takeaway. Same with number 7, you've got one takeaway of 10 there. You've got to find the 10. Number 8, you've got more numbers, but you've just got one takeaway. Now number 9, we have 2 takeaways there. So what will you do to find the 2 numbers that are compatible? Same with number 10 here. You've got these 2 takeaways at the end. What are you going to do with those? Those are your 2 tricky ones. All right, good luck. And remember to post your Response on to Seesaw.